As a small business owner, you know that social media is important, but probably don't know exactly how you should be leveraging it properly. On this episode, we are going to show you everything that you need to do to build out your online digital storefront. That's going to be your social media profiles, your Google business listings, so you stand out online and dominate. Welcome to Marketing Domination. So most people, myself included, have a love-hate relationship with social media. There's lots of good things about it, a ton of annoying, and lots of frustrations with it. But as small business owners, we need to be leveraging it if we want to grow our business and stand out online. This episode, I want to walk you guys through how you should be setting up your digital storefront, which is what I call all of your social media profiles and your Google business listing. This is going to be the last episode in the series that we've been going through over building your sales funnel. So if you have missed the past 7 episodes, make sure that you go through those because each one's going to be building off on itself in order to show you everything that you need in order to have a completed sales funnel. And this is a very high level overview with all of these different episodes that we've been doing. We tried to give you some practical advice to take away from it, but even on this episode today, this is going to be a very high level over how to be setting up your social media, ways to think about considering leveraging it as a small business owner, what platforms you should be on, all of the things. Then in future episodes, especially once we get into the Fill Your Sales Funnel series that we're going to be doing in the future, we're going to be breaking down each individual platforms with specific tactics that are working on those right now. So you know as a small business owner what you need to do. These first 8 episodes that we've been doing, my goal with them is that they're somewhat evergreen content. So it doesn't matter, months or years from now, you come back to this episode, understanding the strategy. We talked about strategies and tactics, but understanding the strategy of having this sales funnel process to where people come in, you guide them through different relationship stages with you. So they ascend up your value ladder. So they go from not knowing who you are to super fan customers for life. That is what a sales funnel does. And we talked about the individual tactics and things that we use now currently to make that happen with things like your brand messaging, your website, your lead generators, your email sequences, social media profiles, ongoing emails, all of those different keep in touch strategies that we have. Those may change in the future, right? As we have things like Web 3.0 and websites and how people use and interact with the internet change, but the strategy stays the same. We need to properly use the right words so we can take somebody through different relationships with our business so we can show them the problems that we solve. On our episode today, we're going to be going through social media. Like I said, this is the last step of the build your sales funnel process. And so the first thing to obviously realize is that social media is here to stay. It might come, platforms come and go. Still hold off for Tom and MySpace to make a comeback, but platforms come and go, but the strategies behind them stay the same. We want to make sure as a business, we have the opportunity to connect those people that we are called to serve. So with social media, as a small business owner, I'm going to answer a lot of the common questions that I get. One, do I need it? Quick answer. Yes, absolutely. You do need social media for your business, but how you use it might not be like everybody else that you see online. But I truly do believe if you want to dominate your industry, or if you're listening to this podcast episode, or podcast at all, you better want to be dominating because that's what we're trying to do. You do need to be on social media. Now, with social media, you have to take yourself out of your own business and think about how you engage and interact with brands. So whenever, I know for me, my generation and younger, it seems like the millennials, I'm the millennial, but the millennials and younger, a lot of times now search results, not only do they happen on Google, but they happen on social media platforms. I know typically whenever I am looking for a restaurant to take my wife out to, I'm going to go to Google, I'm going to look at reviews, and then I'm instantly going to go over to Instagram and Facebook, and I'm going to see what kind of the atmosphere of the restaurant looks like. I'm going to look at pictures, and I'm going to look at tagged photos of other people that have eaten at the restaurant and everything as well too. So I'm not using social media to buy from that restaurant, but I'm using it as kind of like an insider look as to what's going on. So even though every business is going to be leveraging social media differently, you do need to have a profile on social media. So First thing to think about whenever it comes to this whole social media aspect with your business is, how is your business model set up and how will your business use social media? So there's a lot of different ways to leverage this tool in order to connect with potential customers. So one thing about this, you can use it for sales. This is great for something what I do, coaches, consultants, people that have businesses that can serve clients anywhere over the world. They're not locked down to a physical location. You can use social media for generating sales. Networking, great for connecting with other people in your industry. You can use it as advertising. Think of it more of like your social media profile is more like a billboard, just reminding people that you exist. The other example, like I said, with like the restaurant example, you can use it to showcase the personality behind the scenes, what it's like to be a part of the business and the brand. Or obviously running in the future, if you ever want to do paid ads, you got to have your profile set up and all these accounts created in order to be able to eventually run those paid ads. One example that I will give to kind of show different use cases for how to leverage social media is, let's take the example of a plumbing business versus an accounting business. So plumbers, obviously, if you own a plumbing business, you can't go all over the country to fix somebody, especially if it's a local chain, right? You have a local demographic that you're using it. So you're probably have never been scrolling Instagram and I'm going to hire this plumber. No. But what you have probably done before, you've scrolled it, got some helpful tips and engaged with them. So if you ever did have a plumbing issue, you would consider using them. So that's more of almost like the billboard type content with social media. You're not going to be getting clients from that directly now, but in the future, you're top of mind, just like driving down the highway, right? You'll see a billboard whenever it comes top of mind and you need to hire a plumber, you're probably going to be thinking of this company. Second example, more like an accountant, right? An accounting firm, they could serve clients all over the country. So if they're creating content that is helpful accounting tips, tax saving tips for small business owners, well, then I could be scrolling social media and make a purchase decision and buy from them right there. So it's more important for a company like that to be creating content, if they're leveraging social media this way, to do so in a way that's going to capture sales and position them as the expert thought leader to be able to sell through their social media. So a lot of different ways that you can use social media. You need to decide the one that's going to be best for you, your business, and your sales team and your sales practices that you have. But I will say this. Here's the other question that I get. What platforms should I be on as a small business owner? All of them. And I'm going to explain why here in just a second. So one, I think that you do need to be on all platforms, but it doesn't mean you need to be posting on all platforms. Like you've seen in the past, social media platforms come and go. Some rise in popularity, fall, and then some come back. So because of that, we want to at least lock up that real estate for anything that may happen in the future. So one example that I will often give is with social media relating it to business is very similar to the fitness industry. So like you guys know, I was a personal trainer for over a decade and in the fitness industry, owned multiple gyms, all the things. Clients would often come to me and they'd want to know the whole thing. Like, what's everything I need to be doing? I want the meal plan, the fitness program, the sleep routine, like how much water should I, and they want the whole plan. And I learned this very early on. If you give someone the whole plan, they're going to cave because they're going to realize that they can't keep up with that. It seems unsustainable and they're going to end up doing nothing at all. Take this same mindset with your social media. We're going to show you a bunch of things throughout this episode, throughout the podcast. Don't feel like you have to do all of it right then and there, but you do need to understand what standard and what direction you should be going to. So in the future, you have something to compare yourself to as far as making sure that you have everything to truly leverage your business and dominate online, because that's what we're doing. So with that being said, I want to give you the first step. So do I want you on all social media platforms? 100%. Like I want you to take the right supplements, the fitness and the sleep, the recovery, all of the things, the meal plans. But starting off, it's probably going to overwhelm you, especially if you don't already have this stuff set up. So the very first thing I want you to do whenever it comes to this is just lock up your social media profiles. So what I mean by that is I want you to create accounts on every single platform that there is. The main big ones to think about and consider on doing this would be Facebook. And on Facebook, right, some of these platforms have nuances. So on Facebook, you have a personal profile and a business page. I'll talk about those. Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, you have personal and business. X or Twitter, Pinterest is actually, for some industries, makes a whole lot of sense. Reddit, which is huge with SEO. We'll get to that in a second. And then TikTok. And then we're going to talk about Google My Business. I know it's not necessarily a social media platform, but when it comes to setting up this online storefront, I always kind of loop that in there as part of the creation standpoint at the beginning. So whenever we're building out all of these accounts and all of these profiles, remember what this is. As a small business owner, this is our digital storefront. So we've built our website. That's the main thing. Think of your website. Yes, it is a storefront, but it's also the meat of everything. That's how people can come in, do business with you, book calls, schedule assessments. The storefront is like the social media platforms, Google My Business and all that stuff. That is like the exterior window signs and stuff out. So we want to make sure that that is drawing people in, so we actually get them to come inside of our business and do business with you. So as we're building this out, remember what it is. The point of having these profiles is not to spend all day on social media. And you guys know me, we're not making stupid TikTok dance videos. We're creating content that positions you as a thought leader and brings in the type of customers that you want to work with. But that's what it is. It's meant to draw in customers and position you as an expert as we're doing all of this stuff. So understand the goal behind what we're doing it. We're not doing it to spend time on social media. We're doing it and building out these profiles in order to show relevancy and then stay connected with our potential customers and position ourselves as the expert. So with all of this, I'm going to give you guys some best practices as you're going to making sure that your profile is set up. This may seem kind of basic to you, but I would promise you that if you did an audit of your accounts, one, you don't have all of these accounts possibly set up. And if two, some of them you haven't logged into in several years, so they could probably use an update. And three, after we've gone through everything that we've done so far with your brand messaging and everything, probably going to take one or two notes on this. So as we go through this, start making those mental notes of the things that you need to go back to on your small business to make sure everything is optimized. So overall theme with building out this digital storefront and creating all of these profiles that we're going to be building up is, one, we want to make sure that we are locking up the username. So with your username, I would very much recommend it being your business name. And what I would do is I would open up tabs for all the different platforms, and I would see, if possible, if you can lock up the same username across all platforms. My business for this one happens to be also my personal name and personal brand. So it's Sean Garner, and the marketing agency is Sean Garner Consulting. That has evolved from what it used to be with being in the fitness industry. So a lot of my usernames, they don't sync up and they don't match. And a lot of them, if you don't lock it up early on, somebody else can get them. So that's where, when it comes to your business, if it is a business, I would recommend locking up your business name. And if it's a personal brand, obviously lock up your personal brand name across all the platforms and try to make the username be the same. So if it's at Sean Garner, for example, we want it to be the same across all. It's not like that. On Facebook, it's at Sean A. Garner. On Twitter, I think it's at Coach Sean G. On YouTube and Instagram, it's at Sean Garner, but it's not consistent. So it makes it really difficult and honestly annoying whenever you're talking about, hey, connect with me social here, and you got to give out all these links and usernames. So much easier if you can just give one username. Now, that's not a deal breaker. And again, the username doesn't have to be specific. So one of my clients has a medical spa. They're called Revamped Aesthetics. Well, Revamped Aesthetics was taken. So they went with Revamped Owasso, which is the city that they're in. So that way they can lock up that username for all of their platforms. So don't get too hung up on this. This is like one of those little detail things, like what pre-workout do I need to be taking? This is a very minor thing, but if you have the preference, this is what we want you to do. The second thing to think about and to consider with all of these platforms, and kind of the main point is it must be clear and it must be consistent. All of this comes back to one of our very first episodes where we're talking about your brand script and creating your proper brand message. We want our profiles to be clear and consistent. We always want it to answer that, what do I do? How do you make my life better? What do I need to do to get it? And they should look the same from platform to platform. does not mean that you post the same content across each one, but they should have the profiles should be clear and consistent across each one. So for example, what does that mean? Use the same profile image on every platform. Whenever you have customers, they're going to be following you on one platform, and then maybe they go to another platform, they connect with you over there. If the profile picture is the same, you have a much greater likelihood of people understanding that it's actually the same exact business or account. And so they're already familiar with seeing your profile image on certain platforms. They're more apt to connect with you on the other ones whenever they see you show up as well. So what should you put as your profile picture? Well, if it's a business, I would recommend your logo. If it is, and I would make the logo be the exact same color, background, and everything on all of the different platforms. And if it's a personal brand or your business is you, I would recommend it being the same headshot on each and every one. We don't want it, if you're using any headshots, we don't want lots of people in the picture. We don't want it super zoomed out to where you can't see. It should be a really tight cropped in headshot, because remember, people are seeing like this little circle as they're scrolling. So smiling faces, looking positive and professional, and it's a really good, clean headshot. The next thing on it, on all of the platforms, like there's obviously nuances for each platform, but all of these things should be the same. You should have the same profile picture on all of them. Second one is you should include, if there's enough characters that allow, your one-liner statement in your bio. So again, that is creating that story loop of talking about the problem your customers are dealing with, positioning your product, talking about what your product or service is, and then talking about the result that they're going to get after doing business with you. The social media bio section of your profile should not be vague, clear stuff or vague, unclear stuff. I had one client, for example, that that's the most valuable real estate on your profile. You get very limited characters, and theirs was like made in America, overly engineered and built. But anyway, it was all of these like little tagliney things, but you had no idea what their product or service actually was from reading their bio. Potential customers should be able to look at it very similar to your headline on your website, know exactly what you do, what problem you solve, and how you're going to make their life better. There's nuances on individual platforms of how you can use, like Instagram, for example, you have a username and then a profile name. We'll get into that whenever we talk about individual platforms. But for right now, just know something is better than nothing, and make it very clear at least what service that you offer and how you make their life better and what they need to do to get it. So that means filling out your complete profile. So whenever you're building out all of these profiles, the main things that you want to make sure that you have is the clear profile picture across all of them, a one-liner statement or something that tells about what you do. Add emojis in there if possible, if it makes sense for your industry. If you're more of a high-end financial institution, emojis and stuff might not make sense, but use bullet points then, so it kind of separates it out and it's easier to read kind of the bullet pointed things, because people are scanning. They don't want big blocks of text. And that also means we're going to be linking in our website, our business contact information, so like our business phone number, our business email, so we make it really easy for people to do business with us. I can't tell you how often, whenever I'm doing an initial audit for a new client and onboarding them, how they don't have some profiles even created, or if so, they're missing huge chunks. They'll have an old email address that they don't even have access to anymore connected as their contact email. They'll have something wrong with their website that is in their profile. A lot of times little things that matter a lot, they'll forget to put the HTTPS in it, so it's actually not a clickable link. Or if the customer does click the link, it's going to an unsecure site and it's throwing up red flags in the customer's mind. We need to test everything as we're building all of this stuff out if we're trying to dominate online. So the other thing to think about this is there are nuances with certain platforms. So certain ones like YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, they all allow banner images. And so that's also valuable real estate that we want to make sure that's completed. So on the banner images, I would recommend putting text, but not too much text. Again, think about this as kind of a billboard driving down the highway. If somebody has to stop and read a whole huge block of text, contact information, all of the stuff on the billboard, they're going to keep on going by. We want it to be really, really punchy. Again, that kind of one-liner-ish statement content, or the problem that you solve or how you make people's lives better, that should be the stuff that's on there. And it should be able, just like what a good billboard, you're able to read it, get the point as you're driving, 65 miles an hour down the highway. The banner image to do the exact same thing with a 65-mile-an-hour scroll. As people are just sitting there flinging their phone down, they should be able to quickly see that and understand those things about what it is that you do. So going through quick rapid fire on each one of these platforms. Facebook, you have a personal profile and a business page. You need both. Your business page should be the main business content that you're posting. So even if it's a personal brand, create a personal brand business page. You're going to want this in the future because that's how you're going to link things like your Meta Business Suite. So whenever you start running paid ads, you want to start doing a little bit more advanced stuff on social media, you need a business page to do it through. So create your business page. You also have a personal profile. So let's say, for example, you have an accounting firm. So you are going to have your business page as a Facebook page, not a profile, but then you also have your personal profile where you can talk about your business. I have clients ask me all the time whenever they're onboarding, well, do I need to be posting stuff on my personal profile? Well, it depends. Do you want people to know that you own a business? Yes, of course you do. That's why you're even creating all of this stuff. Why would you not want your friends and family members and the people that you already have personal relationships to not know about your business? So of course you do. That doesn't mean necessarily all of your business stuff has to go on your personal page, and by no means should all of your personal stuff go on your business page, but it is very important to let people know what you do. So 100% we should be posting some of your business stuff on your personal page. You need to make it to where it shows the job title or the business that you own in those personal profiles. But with Facebook, do understand there is a difference between a personal profile and a business page. I'm not going to do individual platform deep dives on this episode. And honestly, the sign up process for them all is always changing. But the thing to know about all of this stuff, guys, it is free. So of course we want to create all of these profiles. It's free advertisement for our business. Side note rant. People will often complain about algorithm changes and how they're not getting enough engagement on all of their posts. Take a step back and realize what this is. This is a free way to connect with anyone around the world and advertise your business. Yes, the algorithm might hate you sometimes, but I heard somebody say, change algorithm to people. If the algorithm's not showing your content, it means people don't want to see your content. And sometimes it stings a little bit. People don't want to hear that. They think their content's a lot more awesome than what it really is. I think this podcast episode is probably a lot more awesome than what it really is. But if people aren't engaging with it and listening to it, downloading it, sharing it, well, people have spoken. So that's why you should always be posting things and creating content and learning how to improve. But realize this is a free platform. This is a free way where you can connect with potential customers. So don't whine about it. Just take action, get better out there, and start doing it. The next one is Instagram. Sorry if that stung a little bit, but maybe you need to hear it. Next one is Instagram. Instagram, just have one account. You should not have multiple accounts. So on Instagram, if you have a personal account and a business account, that makes sense because you're going to want to connect the business to the business page. But for me, for example, I have a personal brand, so I don't create two separate Instagram accounts because I am the brand. If you're running accounting firm, a medical clinic, yeah, you should have two different platforms for that. And a lot of that content should connect. And one of the key things you should be doing with that is doing collaborator posts. So what that means is this is a certain feature that's on Instagram to where when you create a post, yes, you can always tag people, but Instagram has this feature that rolled out maybe 6 to 8 months ago, maybe even a year now, where you can add a collaborator on a post. So what that does, it actually makes the post show up in the feed of both platforms. So that way, if somebody goes on my feed and then also, let's say the Ivy Lounge that I own, they can see the same post on both. And when people are scrolling, it looks like it's the same thing. You see it on Instagram sometimes whenever you're scrolling, you'll see like two people, looks like they're the author of a post. That's a collaborator post, and that's what you should be using on Instagram for your business. The third one is YouTube. I'm going to go lots of episodes on YouTube. YouTube, I think, is probably the most important platform to have as a small business owner because it's a great place to host all of your video content like testimonials. And it is also the only one of these platforms that is owned by Google. And it's the second largest search engine in the world. So it really helps a lot with SEO. You can leverage this for blog content. Now they've got YouTube Shorts, obviously, that's been very popular over the past couple of years. YouTube, in my opinion, is the most important one because it's the most evergreen. People don't often scroll through and look at posts on Instagram or Facebook from several weeks or even years ago, but on YouTube, you will watch a video on YouTube that's several years old because the content's good and it's more evergreen. Next one is X or Twitter. Want to make sure that we have all of those profiles locked in. Again, some businesses that might make a lot more sense. Pinterest is huge depending on your business. If you have any type of design business whether that be like interior design or anything like that. Even fitness, I know, is really popular on Pinterest. That's a really great for e-commerce as well, for creating Pinterest accounts. Reddit right now, you might not think of it as a social media platform. It's kind of a form-based platform where it used to be, just on the internet days, you would just have your forms, internet web forms. Well, that's kind of what Reddit is now. Huge for community. But the most important thing with that is Google is indexing Reddit posts higher than even some blog articles. If you just go to Google and search for something and look how some of the top few results are going to be Reddit threads. So I would definitely recommend locking up that platform. And so that way, if you decide to dive down in that one for your business, you at least got it. Then TikTok, it seems like it's huge in the news right now. Like every other week, they're going to close it down. They're not. Still lock up the username. So, depending on what you want to do. I personally am not a fan of TikTok. I'm not on it, but I did at least just lock up my username in case it ever turned into something else. The last one of these that I want to talk about is the most important thing that you can do if you have a local business, and that is your Google My Business listing. I lumped it in here with all the social media platforms, and we're going to do an episode just on this in the future, but you do need to have a local business, a Google My Business account, especially if you have a local business. Our agency, for example, we serve clients all over the country, but I still have a Google business listing. You don't have to list your address publicly if it is a national online business like what we have. But if you have a local business, even like the accounting firm, you can serve clients anywhere, but you have a physical location customers can come to, plumbing businesses, medical clinics, medical spas, gyms, personal trainers, all that stuff. A Google business listing is how you can stand out online, and that's how people will find you locally for your business. Again, it's free to set up. It's also what you want to start doing to collect testimonials. Tons and tons of things that we want to go over with that. But the easiest thing to do to get started is just go to Google and type in Google Business Profile. It'll walk you step by step on how to set that up. This one out of all of them may take a little bit more time because based upon the industry that you're in, I have seen some of my clients will have to verify their listing with their address to where they'll have to, especially if it's anything in financial nature. I've realized those are the most difficult ones sometimes to get verified because Google is a lot more legit. Anybody can go create a Instagram account, but Google takes it an extra step further, and they want to make sure that you're verified and you're actually a legitimate business. Again, just like with your social media profiles, make that profile image consistent. You have more characters in the description of your Google business profile. Make sure you're very clearly addressing the services you provided. All the contact information is filled out. One thing that is an extra special note with Google business profiles is something that's called your NAP, your name, area, and phone number. How it is listed on your Google business profile should be the exact same way that it's listed on your website and everywhere else that you list it. So that means even how you type in the phone number, is the area code in brackets or is there just a dash between it? You want it to be the same. This is one of those little things that kind of matter in the eyes of Google. I hear people test both ways, say some they've noticed a difference, some they haven't, but if it could be, let's at least make sure that we're setting it up right and we're filling it out exactly how we're spelling it and formatting it for each and every different thing are on the website and on your Google business profile. Like I said, set up your Google business profile. That is the most important thing that you can do for a local business. I can't tell you how many local business owners I work with that they don't even have this, or they set it up a long time ago and they don't even dive into it and look at it. This is the most important thing that you could do for local SEO for your business. Set up your Google business profile. In the future episodes, we're going to show you how you can optimize it. So here's the deal, guys. You need to stand out online on social media. The only way you're going to initially start to do that, locking up the platforms. There's tons of different things that you can do to start driving traffic, which we're going to talk about in future episodes with filling your funnel. But this concludes our first series over building a sales funnel. We talked about the overall process of what this marketing domination framework is. We talked about your brand messaging, the words that you use, the branding as far as the logo and visual elements, creating that one-liner statement that quickly answers the question in an interesting story format. What do you do? We talked about creating a lead generator because not everybody that comes to your website is ready to buy or book a call with you. So we want to give them that next stage of the relationship to start building the relationship with you. So when they are ready to make a purchase decision, they think of you. We talked about our website and how we should be wireframing out that homepage so it guides customers through those relationship stages and position ourselves as the guide to help them solve their problems and win the day. We talked about the email sequence after somebody downloads the lead generator that they should be plugged into. We talked about ongoing keep in touch, nurture emails for once somebody's on the list, how we continue to position ourselves as the expert and add value to them. And today was all about building out your digital storefront, making sure you guys lock up all of those social media platforms. You got your Google business listing verified and created. So in the future episodes, as we start talking about, now we built this, now we have to fill it. Like we said, just because you build it doesn't mean people will come. So once you have all of this stuff built, now it's time to start adding fuel to this fire and filling up this sales funnel so you can get more customers and leads. If it sounds super overwhelming, it is a lot of work. You don't have to do it yourself. That's exactly what we do at Sean Garner Consulting. We build, fill, and optimize sales funnels for small business owners so they get more leads and dominate online. If you're interested in working with us, you can go to seangarner.co, seangarner.co. Schedule a call. Let's see if we'd be a good fit to work together. Excited to continue on this podcast episode with you guys. Hopefully this first series has added a ton of value, showed you some blind spots that you possibly have, so you know what you need to do to grow your business and dominate online.